All right. Well, let me kick it off. First of all, everybody that's on the webinar tonight, welcome to our second webinar in a series titled "Mentally Tough" with Dr. Gary Sales. Tonight, we're going to be discussing how to play in the zone. Just a reminder for everyone: we have a lot of people on the call. So please mute your computers if you're not talking. Also, if you were on our last webinar, you know that Doc loves interaction. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. We are going to ask that you use the chat feature on your computer, and then I will pass the questions along to Doc for you. So finally, I want to again say how happy Indiana Golf is to be partnering with Doc on these webinars. So Doc, tell us how to play in the zone.
I certainly will. Thank you for that introduction, Mike, and welcome everyone. Thank you for coming back for our second session. I understand that we had a sellout last time and another sellout this time. I'm absolutely delighted to hear that, so that's great. I want to make you a better golfer. Bottom line, that's it. I don't do the swing. I do everything but the swing, and so that's going to be my focus tonight. If you ask questions through the chat down below, we're going to select 2 individuals to receive my CD, which is titled Mastering Golf's Mental Game, and I will send this to you, or the Indiana Golf Office will send this to you, all right? So please, I love interaction, and I'm going to warn you ahead of time, all right? I don't just like interaction. I like to play with my audience. So when I put my slides up, I'm going to have over here to the side about 8 or 9 of you who will be on my screen, and I am going to be calling on you. Steve, I think I picked on you last time a few times, didn't I, if I remember correctly?
You did.
Yeah, Mary, my boss over the summer, I picked on her a little bit. So if I pick on you and I embarrass you, I'm not apologizing. Let's just have some fun, okay? So let me put my slides up real quick, all right? And there it is. And we're going to get started. So I see Mike, Steve Norris, Mary Stevenson, and Lisa Hedges. Let me move this back over and see if nope, that's going to be it. Okay. So the zone, the elusive zone. Oh man, the elusive zone. We've been there, but it's so hard to get back there. So tonight I'm going to tell you how to play your best golf. And I had a little bit of help with this from some very influential people. The most influential for me was Harvey Dorfman, who was the top performance coach in Major League Baseball. When I was with the Brewers, I reached out to him. He mentored me for a year, and he taught me about how to teach those guys how to hit the ball. He worked with Pete Rose, and he was the one that coined the phrase, see the ball, hit the ball, and it had applications to tennis, which is what I was playing at the time and coaching. But now I'm doing just the golf. But the zone, that elusive zone, we've all had those days where we just played our absolute best golf. And yet when we try to repeat it, we find it impossible to do. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So let me get my screen together here and go down. Okay. So a real quick review. Last week, I asked everyone, what is mental toughness? And you guys gave me a lot of different answers. The ability to come back from adversity, the ability to stay focused and, on the shot, the ability to block out outside things, the ability to, come down the stretch and perform well. All of those things are great answers, but that is not what mental toughness is. Those are the benefits of mental toughness. When you think of the word mental toughness, the word that I have found that has the best application is the ability to block out the mess. Seriously, the ability to block out the mess by having what I call disciplined, focused thinking. If it can't get in, you're better able to stay in the moment. So bottom line, when we really look at performance psychology, that quote at the bottom of the screen is what is most important. You are what you think, you become what you believe. All right? You are what you think, you become what you believe. And we all know that a lot of times, thoughts lead the way, and we have a thought before we do an action. Golf works the same way. As a matter of fact, that's the way life is, okay? And from there, emotions evolve as well as our performance or whatever our actions are, all right? So that's what mental toughness is: disciplined, focused thinking. I love during the pandemic, they talked about being in a bubble. That's what you want to do mentally. You want to be in a bubble so that outside factors cannot get in. And I want you so busy thinking about what's going to help you play better, the other stuff can't get in because your glass is full. That's what this is: disciplined, focused thinking. You are what you think, you become what you believe. So let's examine the zone for just a minute. It's that place where everything comes together and you play your best golf. That simplifies it. So this is what I want you to do. All right, I'm going to give you guys 2 or 3 seconds, then I'm going to start picking on you guys. Steve, Mary, David, Brumley, your lowest score. Go back to the day that you had your lowest score. We did this last week, so I'm going to do it very quickly. So Mike, give me a word, just one word that describes that day that you shot your lowest score. Describe something that was going on inside your head.
Very little. It was just, you're just acting. I mean, you're not really thinking about a lot.
There you go, a quiet mind. Steve Norris, come on, man. You played your best golf. Give me at least one description of what that felt like, what it was like for you.
It was mindless.
Mindless, okay. I love that. David Paul Brumley, that day that you shot your lowest score, give me a word that describes what that was like for you. You'll need to turn off your mic. 5, 4, 3. David, can you, okay. Well, let's go on, all right? But I can tell you the zone is a very delicate balance. It is where you have a convergence of balance between the mental, which is your mind, the emotional, how you feel, the physical, how your body feels, and then the spiritual. Man, this is fun. Mike, can I say that? This is fun. When the ball's going where you're aiming, Steve and David, just get a head nod. It's fun when that ball goes where you're aiming. And so the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. And here's the thing about the zone that's so fleeting, everyone. Oh, this is so frustrating too. The moment you realize you're in the zone, poof, it's gone, okay? So enjoy it for as long as you can. And if you can last for 18 holes, you're pretty good, all right? But it is that place where everything comes together: the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. Mentally, you're focused on the process. That's what is called in the moment. I got to move this ball from this point over there. Emotional, bottom line, I just want you to be confident. Be confident over every shot. The physical, you're not tired. You're energized, okay? And you're feeling pretty good, and you're feeling like you can do the entire 18 holes. And spiritually, the only thing I'm going to talk about is, man, there's no place I'd rather be than right here on this golf course right now. This is fun, okay? And that's what I mean when there's that delicate balance. So why is it so hard to enter the zone? Actually, we either lock the door or we take ourselves out of the zone if we're in for just a moment. We hit a couple beautiful shots, but negative self-talk and thoughts will take us out of it because we're being over-analytical, probably, thinking about what happened in the past. We're expecting to play perfectly in a game that does not permit that. I love Bob Rotella's book. I looked up online just the other day. Bob Rotella's book was the #3 best-selling book in golf, and it's entitled "Golf is Not a Game of Perfect." I give it as gifts to a lot of the clients that I work with. Sometimes we're being over-analysis with the swing, an overactive mind, whether you're thinking about golf or, finding a babysitter for the date with your wife tonight, or, finding a babysitter for the kids, or I got to put gas in the car. Am I going to get home? I'm hungry. Overactive mind. one of my favorites, and believe it or not, this is a distraction, is winning. Thinking about winning or not losing is a distraction. Sometimes being overcome, I don't like this guy, I don't like this woman, I gotta beat her, you know, something like this, playing for a score, or what I call obsessive mechanical control, which means that you've got a lot of swing thoughts. This takes you out of the moment. Now, 2 weeks ago, I had you do something, and I want you to try that tonight while I'm going forward. And that is this. The simplest task I can think of is for you to write your first, middle, and last name. We did this last week with pencil and paper. And you write your first, middle, and last name on a piece of paper, and then close your eyes and do it. And you can actually see it, sense it, feel the words. And then I have you go back and I have you write your first, middle, and last name. And then I have you count backwards from 100 by 3 while you're writing your last name. It takes you out of your flow. And that's what we do when we have these kinds of thoughts when we play. So if these things take us out of the moment, which takes us out of the zone, what is it that we need to do to find the zone and to stay there? And Mike, I got to tell you, man, hands up to you. You said it. And you too, Steve. Absence of thought, a quiet mind, and it's more instincts and feelings than conscious thought. And one of the things that I love about the ideal performance state is that it's automatic and instinctive. In other words, your confidence is high, you trust the process, and you get out of the way of your swing. Why? Because of that trust. That to me is an indication of confidence. You're relaxed and calm. You're focused, and that creates a quiet mind. Focused on what? Hey, folks, your targets. Multiple targets is strategy, and that's your game plan for course management. I'm going to go back and simplify that again. Targets, multiple targets is a strategy. That strategy is your course management plan, but it starts with your targets. And I'll tell you a little tip about the brain. The smaller the target, the better the brain likes it and functions. People in the ideal performance state also felt challenged, not threatened, challenged. In other words, I'm gonna make this eagle putt. I'm gonna make this birdie putt. Oh my gosh, I got a birdie putt. I got a par putt. I don't know about you all, but okay, stay with me here. You hit it in the fairway, you hit it on the green, you two putt, and you go to the next hole. All right. Now, a lot of you would say, Doc, I don't get a lot of those. So I'm going to tell you right now, I celebrate when I get those, but you will get to the point where this will happen for you as well. You hit a ball down the fairway, and because of the contour of the fairway, it rolls into the first cut and maybe right up on the edge of the second cut. You hit your second shot, and something got between your club and the ball, all right, and your green side. And you've got this funky lie that you've never seen before, and you just put your club on it, and it goes up to the hole by about a foot, and then you put it in for par. Nothing worked that you planned. That is what is called the challenge response, and I'm not going to lie to you, that's harder, but it's fun, and I want you to enjoy that as well. In other words, can you be creative on the course? You see, it's not about fairways and greens. That makes it easy. And some people would say, I'll take it, and I'm there. But let me tell you, a lot of times you're going to find a real difficult par can sometimes be more gratifying and satisfying than hitting the fairway, hitting the green, and two putting to get it. Mary, are you paying attention, my beginner? Because this is going to be you in another year, Mary. Okay,
yep,
so that's all part of the game. That's all part of the game, and I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Okay, you guys, I know there's been people who have done it where you hit a shot from the fairway and it went in the hole for an eagle. All you were trying to do is get it on the green, and it goes into the hole. That's fun as well. So let's get right to it. What are the keys to entering the zone? I've done a lot of extensive research on this. I've talked with experts who have been in the game for a long, long time. I had the opportunity to talk with a lot of people who played their best, interviewed them, what was your best score? And obviously I played this game to a single digit handicap as well. And they always came back to these three things. These three things. And this is all about the brain. Give the brain something to do, which is your intent. Do it with confidence and focus exclusively on that. I'm going to go over it again. And this is not oversimplifying it. This is literally how the brain operates. And we're taking the science and breaking it down into language that we as golfers can understand. You need intent, which are your targets, which becomes your strategy, which is course management. You need confidence, which is your belief in your ability to execute that game plan. More basically, to move the ball to the target multiple times, which creates your strategy. And that is the foundation of your course management. And then bottom line, it's all you think about. Okay. Remember this. Okay. You bring this stuff in and it's a distraction. Even winning. Okay. Even winning, trying to win is a distraction, because if you're thinking about winning, you're not thinking about moving the ball from the target, from target A to target B. And that also means that, just like I showed you earlier, when you're writing your name and counting backwards, you're multitasking, and you can't do that when you play golf. Don't multitask. So that's why I say it's disciplined focus. This is the part that's hardest. Most people come out to the course and they have an idea of what they want to do, and we're going to cover that as well. And a lot of people have confidence over their shots, but I can tell you, when you've got a putt for birdie or a putt for eagle or a long 10, 15 footer for par, that can challenge your confidence, and I'm going to show you guys how to get through that. But the entire process is closing off your mind. Just close off your mind and don't let those things get in. And the way to do that is to have your glass full with what I'm about to show you. All right? Okay, your intent. Later on, we're going to talk about performance goals versus outcome goals. So when I work with a client, the first thing I tell them is intent, okay? And I'm going to repeat a lot, because that's how we get better. We just do the same thing over and over and over, developing a feel and confidence in the execution. And the only way to do that is through repetition, and that brain works the exact same way. So if I'm working with a player, Doc, I've got a tournament tomorrow and I want to do well. What should I do? Well, here's just some of them. But if you notice, greens and regulation has an asterisk, and there's a reason. This one statistic has the greatest impact on your score than anything else in golf, according to the statisticians, the analytic experts, even our top coaches like Butch Harmon and David Ledbetter, and I could just go on and on and on. Greens and regulation, because think about it. Greens and regulation, every time you have a green in regulation, you have an opportunity to get a birdie. All right. And if you don't three putt, that's going to have an indication on your score. Also, here's something else that Dave Pelz teaches us. We don't lose shots off the tee for the most part. All right. We lose shots around the greens. So fall in love with that putter, fall in love with your wedges. And one of my favorite quotes, and everybody listen to this now. David Pelz teaches us how well you putt is not nearly as important as where you putt from. So I'm telling you, chip and putt to a 6-foot circle if you're way away from the cup. Steve, you talked about those 20 footers. Well, Steve, last 2 weeks ago, I asked, so Steve, what's easier to putt to? The cup, which is, I guess, about 9 inches wide. Is it 9 inches? How many inches wide is the cup, Mike?
4.5, Doc.
4.5? Wow. Okay. So is it easier to putt to the cup, or is it easier?
No wonder you're a single digit, Doc. You're putting a 9-inch cup. That's not fair.
Well, I'm thinking this is about the size of a cup, and this looks like 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're right, 4 inches. But I don't know about you, but I putt to a 6-foot circle when I'm out of 20 feet. A lot of times it goes in because I'm relaxed. I'm not really trying to make it, but I am. And a lot of them go in, but I can make it to a 6-foot circle. Why? Because if you put the pin in the middle of a 6-foot circle, anything inside the circle is within 3 feet. And most tournament players, the tour average inside of 3 feet is 99%. And the average for recreational golfers is probably around 80-something% with regard to those 3-footers. So let's look at some of the things that golfers should be thinking about with regard to their intent. And this is determined by your ability. Mary, I'm going to pick on you, okay? Because avoiding the big number is what recreational golfers should have as their intent. Avoid a big number. In other words, Mary, there's the water. I'm hitting it over to the right. I'm hitting it left. Or I'm in the grass. I'm going to just use my wedge and put it back in play and then continue playing and take my bogey or something like that, okay? One of my favorites is Fairways and Greens. I mean, that's cool, all right? So I've seen this on TV, and I've seen this with the people that I talk to, and they say, I just want to hit fairways and greens. That's my job today. I'm going to hit fairways and greens. I had another client who, when they got to the green, played a little conservative. When they missed the green, they never got it all the way to the hole. Sometimes they never got it on the green. So that person's goal that day was to play more aggressively when they were around the greens. And they even said, Doc, if I hit it past the green, you know, when I'm chipping, to me, and it doesn't go in, that is, you know, an accomplishment. Maybe you want to get your drives, keep them in the fairway. Maybe you're working on length, or maybe you want to shorten your drives, or maybe you're going to work on your drives just so that you have a free shot to the green, being able to get up and down 50%, maybe 30 putts or less per round. All of these are performance goals that I have worked with my players. You have to decide what you want to do. When Gary Sales plays golf, I got one thing, and I orient my whole game to this one thing. And that's what, Mike?
Greens and regulation.
Greens and regulation. That's why when I play, that's my goal. And I orient my whole game around greens and regulation, and the course will determine how I accomplish that. All right? Going on, your confidence. Okay. You know, displaced confidence is your thinking that I'm going to win this tournament. And Tiger walks in, you know, he's interviewed by, it's his first Milwaukee Open. He's being interviewed by Stuart Sink, and, or not Stuart Sink, I can't remember who it was, but Tiger says, I expect to win every tournament that I play. And a lot of people think that Tiger brings that thought onto the course, but you know what he does? And this is what everyone else should be doing. And that's this: use that as motion. Use that to emotionally stay confident and focus on what you need to do in order to win. In other words,
Doc, it was Curtis Strange.
Curtis Strange, thank you. Was that Jack? Thank you, Jack.
That's
yes.
right. Yep.
And I like that, because I'll be honest with you, I feel the same way. Every tournament that I show up to, I plan to win, but I don't bring that mentality to the course. When I go to the course, the only thing I'm thinking about is greens and regulation. Okay. And Tiger, that's how he plays. All right. So the belief in one's ability to execute your game plan. Control, in other words, sports psychology literature tells us your confidence should be attached to the things that you have direct control over. Your swing, greens and regulation, putts, chips, things like that, performance things. You have no direct control over winning, beating an opponent, or anything like that, because you just don't control. So that's why I call those outcome goals. You don't even have control over your score. You can try, but my thing is this: play your best and let everything settle once everything's over. All right. So attach your confidence to the things that are under your control. And that is your swing. One swing thought, and in a survey of all the players at collegiate, pro, and Also in the golf literature, the most popular swing thought is swing tempo. All right, swing tempo. In other words, just that one swing tempo. I like what David Ledbetter said. Tempo is the glue that keeps the swing together. We're going to talk about tempo later on because I teach what is called tour tempo, where the ratio is 1 to 3. You take it back on 1 and then you come through 3 times faster with the full swing, and tempo is 1 to 2 with putts and chips. More on that later. Okay. Your confidence should also be attached to your belief that you can hit the ball to your target, taking into account the following. If Tiger, during his prime, the best player on the planet, hit 2 perfect shots in a round of golf, hey, suck it up and understand that this game is hard, and that if you hit the ball to your target twice in a round, you're doing good. And if you're playing, and I play to about a 6 handicap, I'll be honest with you. If I get the ball to the target twice perfectly in 3 rounds, I'm good, okay? Because I know my ball is going to go left or right. So it's going to either be pin high, but the thing about it is there's nothing wrong with the middle of the green on your approaches, okay? Okay, here's something that I love, and I got to tell you guys a quick story. I got this. I want you to say that, sit back in your chair, and just say, I got this. Just say it to yourself. I got this. I got this. And then just own it. I got this. Just really feel it. And that's the feeling you have to have over every shot, from driver to putter to just sink it in the hole. 72 times, 105 times, I don't care. I got this. Here's the story. So I'm out in San Diego when the Chargers were in San Diego. They brought me in to work with the rookies, and I picked the biggest man I could find in that room. 6'9", 310, easy. So I had him put his right arm out because he was right-handed. So I figured that was his dominant hand. That was the strongest arm he was at. And I said, I want you to say the following. And I want you to shake your head and say, I can't. Say, I can't. And he said, I can't. Put your head down and say, I can't. He put his head down and he said, I can't. I took 2 fingers and I pushed his arm down, and he freaked out. He freaked out, okay? So I said, don't worry, I'm gonna explain why this is happening. So then I went to the other side, and this was his left side, his weaker side, and I had him put it out, and I told him to say, I got this, all right? I got this. It wouldn't budge. I put 2 hands on it, and it would not budge. There's another NBA player, and I lost his name. I had his name, and I lost him. 6'9". He's playing with LeBron and those guys now. Played for Detroit. And I did this at the rookie camp. Same thing with him, and he couldn't believe it. Why? Because when you say I can't, you trigger mechanisms in your brain, a brain area called the amygdala. And bottom line, the neural pathways don't function as well. And when you are standing over a shot and you're not confident, that's the same thing as I can't. That's the same thing as far as I'm concerned, fear, doubt, and your body neurochemically is not the same as when you say, I got this. All right, so everybody, let's do this. Let's test this. I want you to say, I can't, and I want to see everybody's head shake. I can't. Come on, guys. Just play with me. I can't.
I can't.
Just say it. I can't. And just notice how you're feeling when you say I can't. Just say I can't. And you kind of like you want to slump in your seat. Now say, I got this. And all of a sudden, it's like, I got this.
I got this.
I got this. And if you say that over every shot, that is item number 2. So your intent is to move it from point A to point B. Number 2 is believe you can do it. Believe you can do it. I got this. Now, one of the biggest things that golfers do, how am I doing for time, Mike? Oh, 7:32. Good. Okay.
7:32, Doctor, doing well.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is kind of cool is this. One of the things that take people out of the zone and can self-sabotage a round of golf is when people start thinking about their bad shots. Somewhere in there, if you've got 10 bad shots, Mary, there's one good shot. Mary, I want you to remember that good shot and forget the bad ones, okay? Because those bad shots it's going to take your brain to a place you don't want to be. Okay. I was reading an article years ago. This reporter was interviewing Arnold Palmer and trying to remember, get Arnold to remember. So what happened on that shot that you missed on number 13? What are you talking about? You know, that shot that went into the water. I didn't hit the ball in the water. Arnold, I got the film right here. You hit. I don't remember that shot. Do you understand? At his prime, those guys remember their good shots. You know why? Because that's fuel for confidence. I can do this. I got this. And there's proof because I did this before, as opposed to, yeah, the last time I did this, man, it went in the water. You don't want to remember that. The last time you remember a shot, make sure it is a good shot, because folks, we humans have free will. You have a choice. Which are you going to remember? The bad shots that's going to make you play worse, or the good shots that's going to make you play better? Okay, so remember your good shots. All right. Okay, and then disciplined, focused thinking. Disciplined, focused thinking. Bottom line, we need a game plan, which I'm going to repeat, are targets. Multiple targets is strategy. Strategy is course management. Focus on your game plan, which means it starts here and now is the target. Not the people watching you, not beating anybody, not the coach, not your playing partners, just you, the ball, and your target. This is what leads to a narrow focus and a quiet mind. Here we are, right here. Bottom line, the less you think, the better you play. This is what keeps you in the moment. And what you've got to say time and again and do every single time is this shot right here, right now. Not the future, not the past, but this one right now. And the fuel that you have going into that shot with your confidence is, I hit the shot 1,000,000 times. I can do this, you know, and you have a choice. You have a choice. So I want you to remember that, okay? Remember that you have a choice. Remember your good shots. So this is what Tiger said. And when he said that, I said, hallelujah. I thought I was in church. I got up and did the happy dance, okay? I play my best golf when I feel like a spectator in my own body. Now, let's analyze that quote, you guys. Trust. Oh my gosh. When I feel like a spectator in my own body, the body is moving and he doesn't feel like he has conscious control. And trust me, when I took this to the Brewers, some guys they wouldn't let it go because, you know, I got to maintain control. Well, this is practice. Come on, man, this is practice. It doesn't count. We're not in a game. Let's just try it here. So they were able to execute better. I had another young man, and I wrote about this in my book. We were at the driving range, and he was hadn't been there in a while, and he was hitting the balls left and right, spraying them all over the place. And you know, and I'm sitting in the stall next to him. So you know, all of his, and it's a friend of mine, a guy that I know, and so that I could get back to my work, I had to help him out. So I said, "What are you working on?" "Well, I'm trying to A, B, C, D, E, F, G." And I'm thinking, that's the problem, man. Where are you trying to hit it to? That target over there. Well, then do it, man, without thinking about it. Just do it. It's in there. You know, do you think about how to walk when you walk? Do you think about how to drink when you drink? Do you think about how to drive when you drive? Do you think about how to brush your teeth? You got it, man. You got it. Just do it. First one went that way, but the next few went in the vicinity of the target. And he said, "Doc, how did you do that?" "I got you out of your own way, man. That's all I did. I got you out of your own way." And a lot of times people don't do it because they don't train that way. They don't do it at the range. So I had a guy on the, when it was the buy.com tour, he came to Indy, worked with me. We went to Riverside Academy. And I said, "Get me your favorite club. Get your favorite club." And he said, I think he grabbed the 7-iron. And I said, "This is all I want you to do. I want you to trust your swing, go brain dead, and the only thing I want you to think about is the back of the ball," because he told me that's where he looks at. "Just think about it." And he hit maybe a half dozen balls, and he turned to me And he said, I haven't hit the ball that pure since high school. Because he's up there thinking about conscious manipulation, all the different places he has to do, and all of that's important. But when you're thinking about it, that should happen at the range when you're training, not when you're on the course competing. There's a place for that. So what you want to do is the instincts. Learn this, everyone. Learn this. We do a lot of things in life without conscious thought or conscious control, but we are aware of it. I could have you tie your shoe, write your name, cook eggs and bacon, whatever. But because of the nature of this game, we relegate ourselves to conscious control, conscious manipulation, swing thoughts, for lack of a better word. And as a result, by having too many swing thoughts, we'll never execute at our best. And you know that a lot of times the lie, the wind, so many things can affect it. But the worst thing you could ever do is to go into what I call fix-it mode. Making minor adjustments is one thing, everybody does that. But going into fix-it mode, got to do this, got to do that with my body, with my elbow, with my hands, then, you know, if I hear that from a competitor, I know I got him today. I got you, man, you know, and I'm not going to try to fix it. So that being the case, I just want to just stop here. The keys to entering the zone, and I'm going to repeat that, is this, all right? Intent, that's your game plan. Pick your targets. Those targets, multiple targets, become your strategy for that hole. Multiple hole strategies becomes course management. Believe in your ability to execute that. And I don't care what level you are, beginner or tour player. That confidence is important for your success and to focus on what's in front of you. We call that being in the moment. And being in the moment means everything that you need to do to move the ball from point A to point B, and taking into consideration sometimes your best swing. Mike, you said it best. Steve, you said it last week or 2 weeks ago, and the same thing today. Absence of thought. The swing just felt good and it was fun. All right. So when you play your best golf, I feel like a spectator in my own body. Trust me when I tell you this. So here's a drill that you guys can do when you go to the next time you go to the driving range. Do this at the driving range and then take it out on the course practice round. Play 9 holes. I do this all the time, 4 or 5 times a week. What I want you to do is this. When you're at the range, get used to quieting your mind, focus on the back of the ball, and then when everything else becomes fuzzy and the only thing you see and are thinking about is the back of the ball, that's the time to execute the swing from driver to putter. Let me show you what that feels like. We did this 2 weeks ago. I'm going to take you back. I want you to just look at your thumbnail. Just look at your thumbnail, and I want you to notice the color, the striations, the half moon at the bottom. I want you to notice any imperfections. And while you're focusing on that, I'm taking you to a narrow focus, and you should realize your lack of focus, anything exterior to your fingernail. When you get to that point over the ball, that's when you're ready to swing. That's when you're ready to swing. Now, just like any other part of your game, getting into the zone, you got to practice it. And now here's what's going to happen. You're going to feel a little threatened, insecure, because you're going to feel that, well, I don't have control. I don't know where it's going to go. But you do have control. It's in your subconscious. You know how to walk, you know how to drive, you know how to eat, you know how to breathe. It's called the autonomic nervous system, and its bodily functions occur there. And the conscious mind is simply a place where you input data to tell your subconscious what you want to do, which is that intent. So I'm telling you, if you tell yourself, I want to move the ball to that target, address the ball after your pre-shot routine, look at the back of the ball and take a swing and see what happens. All right. You're going to find that your misses are going to get better. And one of the things that I've come to realize is this is a game of misses and managing your mistakes and eliminating your errors. All right. So I'm done.
Doc, so let's start with this one.
Okay.
All right, so this is from Kim. She
Okay,
says,
Kim. Thank you, Kim.
"This is embarrassing, but I can't add up my score until I'm done with my first 9 because it gets in my head if I'm doing well. I'm content just knowing I'm playing well. I'm just breaking into the 40s. Any suggestions to help me get over this?" I think Kim's ahead of the game here if she's not thinking about her score. I think that's great.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's exactly it. Don't add it up until you're done. Not even in your head. Don't do it on the scorecard. I'll tell you what, if you want to add things up, Kim, add greens and regulation. Add up your greens and regulation, okay? That one I will allow, but not your final score. Because you see, greens and regulation has nothing to do directly with beating your opponent, but your score does. So if you've got a high score, it's like, oh my gosh. But if you've got high greens and regulation, you can say, well, I just got to make some adjustments and, get more greens. And trust me when I tell you that's the way it works. But you don't want to add up your score. Pretty much every sports psychologist that I've talked to, worked with, say the same thing. You don't want to worry about the score because that is outcome oriented, and that stuff's place is when the round is over. Okay? When the round is over. So the only thing you want to think about when you're playing are your performance goals. Good question. So you're doing the right thing, Kim. Don't add it up.
Similar question, Doc, when you were covering the slide with some of the distractions that, how do we get away from that playing for a score? And I think you just addressed that with the other goals you put into place. You're not really thinking about whether you made par or bogey.
There it is. This is what you're thinking about. And for me, it's kind of like this, all right? I'll take you through every shot on a par 4, okay? Let's just say it's a 350-yard par 4. When you're at the tee box, you want to hit your ball to a spot where you don't have any obstructions to the green. That can be in the fairway. That would be ideal. But with today's technology and everything, you can be in the first cut. Some of these courses, particularly the munis, are not punishing if you don't hit it in the fairway, and you can still, extricate the ball to the green. So that's your drive and you're just thinking. So you're walking to your ball, and I want you to think about that cute boy that you saw in class the other day, and thinking about how you're going to get the number, get the digits, or you're going to be thinking about, anything pleasant. Okay. But then as you start approaching your ball, now you say, okay, I'm going to get this on the green. I've got this. I'm getting this on the green. And then you go through your pre-shot routine, and then you execute it. All right. And then you walk up to the green, you read the putt, and I don't want you to think about making the putt. I mean, that's a given. This is crazy. If you think about making the putt, it makes you nervous. If you think about the execution, putt goes in. Go figure. All right. And the University of Toronto Research Lab does a lot of golf psychology. They're the experts, man. So just focus on execution and not the outcome. And for me, that's tempo. Tempo. That's the only thing I think about. And from the drive all the way down to my putter, tempo is the magic bullet that makes it all work for me. Okay, that's all I think about. And that same lab, if you are going to have a swing thought, make sure it is outside the body and does not include a body part. Hands this, elbow that, hips here, legs there. If you do that, you're going to have overcompensations and you're not going to drive the ball where you want. So that's why they say you should have external swing thought, and one that will eliminate a lot of problems. And David Ledbetter gave us the answer. The answer is swing tempo. And you can feel it. You can feel it. Jack Nicklaus called it my oily swing. And that's the word that I use. When I do my practice swing, I want it to feel oily. In other words, it's loose and all the connecting parts, and it just feels good. And I know I'm ready to step up to it and swing the exact same way.
Hey, Doc, how do you feel about taking deep breaths in and slowly releasing them as part of a pre-shot routine?
I agree. If you're nervous, you need it. If you're not nervous, don't worry about it. Okay, because your chances are, if you're confident and you're working, but I have people who rush, and sometimes I tell them, look, you got to slow down because you're going too fast. Or people who are nervous, take a deep breath, let it all out, let the toxins out and everything else with it. So it depends on the situation. If you're nervous, yes, settle yourself down. If you're playing too fast, if you feel like you're rushing, yep, slow down. In the beginning of your pre-shot routine, take a deep breath, let it out, and then start your pre-shot routine.
Doc, when you want to hit a certain kind of shot, a fade, a draw, a punch shot, or whatever, that isn't just your normal shot, how do you do that and not have a swing thought?
Well, actually, it is, if you're hitting it, it is a normal shot. If you own it and if it's part of your arsenal, don't abandon it. It's your shot. Own it. So I don't like that language, first of all, and it's not my normal shot. Well, you're in trouble. Okay? Own it. Own it. And then do the work at the range, but own it. And swing thoughts. So here's, oh, I love this. Ernie Ells. Oh, sweet. Okay, so now I got to bring Ernie Ells and David Ledbetter into the mix. Okay? All right. Because I did this and I said, whoa, this works. Ernie Ells said, I have one swing from putter to driver. Okay? One swing. I don't make any changes. And I said, that works. Simple and effective. And you don't have to worry about making any adjustments. Ledbetter said, if you want to hit it left or right or straight, make adjustments in your setup, not the swing. So I'll tell you what I learned. This is what I learned. I've got one swing. You know, that swing plane that we talk about? I got one and it works. I'm good, okay? But if I want to hit a draw, I move it back slightly in my stance and I close the club face. If I want to hit a fade, I'll move it slightly forward and I'll open up my club face just a little bit. And if I want it to go straight, which it never does, by the way, okay, I will just put it square wherever club I have. But that's what Ledbetter says. So that's where you've got Ernie Ells and Ledbetter who complemented each other, but they did not do it consciously. One supported the other. So if I've got just one swing and I want to hit a fade, move it forward and open up the club face. If I want to hit a draw, move it back a little bit and close the club face. No thoughts about the swing. No swing thoughts at all. Okay? So that would be my suggestion and practice it at the range. Guess what? Works. It does work.
Doc, if you're working on something with your swing, something in particular, maybe a swing coach has told you to work on, is it okay to think of that swing thought on the golf course?
If you're playing a practice round, yes. If you're playing a practice round, yes. If you are not keeping score, yes. Yes, 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 yes. But the thing about it is this, you know, it's give and take. Before you go to the range, let's say you go to the range and you're practicing that swing, but here's the thing that I have noticed, and I've experimented with this, and it seems to work, okay? The swing thought is during the practice swing. There's a sports psychologist in London who wrote, you have 20 seconds for that swing thought to integrate and fire the neural pathways between the motor cortex and your arms and legs and everything. 20 seconds. So here's what common sense dictates. If you're going to practice a specific shot, do it during the practice swing and then execute it within 20 seconds. And the average person executes without rushing about between 7 and 12 seconds once they address the ball. So we're good to go. Does that work? It worked with that one young man, and he put it out there and nobody refuted it. So I just say, if you're going to have a swing thought, do it during the practice swing, but know that you have and to use his terminology, you have programmed your computer, which is your subconscious. So it's a feeling. It's not conscious control. It's a feeling. And then just go ahead and swing, and it should work. It should work.
Doc, we all know that it can be a challenging game. How do you get over the fear of embarrassing yourself?
How do you get over the fear of embarrassing yourself? That's a good one. That's a good one. I tell everyone, not just that, but whose attitude matters the most, whose opinion matters the most, and you don't need to apologize for. I love it when I play golf. Somebody hits a bad shot and they explain it to me, you know, and yeah, I hit that bad shot. I closed my club face and yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking, it's part of the game, you know? So I would tell that person, doesn't matter what other people think. It really doesn't matter unless you decide it matters, okay? And I've got 3 people whose opinion I covet, my 2 sons and my significant other. Everybody else, I'll listen, but I'm not guaranteed to say yes, dear, or yes, son, okay? But when it comes to my lady, I say yes, dear, whether I agree or not. And when it comes to my son, I don't know, man, you know? But your opinion is the one that matters most. And I would say that if you are obviously, you know, concerned about the people watching you, that's a distraction and it will keep you out of the zone. So what you've got to convince yourself, and here's what I would tell that person in a journal, because I teach journaling as well. Just write. Remember back in 3rd grade, you know, I will stop talking. I will stop talking. And the teacher makes you do it 100 times on the board. That's reinforcement, sir. Okay, that's reinforcement. I would tell myself 1,000,000 times every day, the most important opinion is mine. And that's what I would tell that young lady or that young man that said that.
Perfect. Doc, how long do you hold a visual target or image in your head? Does it continue to the end of the follow through?
No, because a lot of times we follow the ball flight. Once the ball's gone, we track the ball, and then the ball tracks to the target, and then we pick up both, and hopefully they go in the same direction, okay? But I will tell you this, there is what is pre-shot routine and post-shot ritual. Post-shot ritual, okay? So track the ball, because right after we hit it, you know, we turn and we track the ball and we get immediate feedback. Now that feedback cannot be emotional, where you are really angry because you had a bad shot, or you're really, really, really happy because you had a good shot. It's just, you're still on track, you still are on plan, and then you move on to the next shot. And if anything, it should contribute to your confidence. But the bad shots should not detract from that confidence, because bad shots are part of the game that's never going to go away.
Doc, how often do you recommend practice at the driving range? And also, what ratio do you recommend between practice at the range and playing a round of golf?
Okay, I am so happy you do that. I am one of those individuals that I do both when my body lets me, you know, when my body lets me. Like today, I went to the range and all I took inside was my putter, because I know my putter, I'm getting to that point now where my first tournament is coming up in 4 weeks. And I know my putter is the difference between me coming out on top and coming in second place. It's my putter. And if I can make, because I average about 10 to 12 greens in regulation, and I got to make that first putt. If I don't make that first putt, I know that I, you know, stand a chance of not winning. So I'll go and I'll just go to the range and work on that putter. Or I'll go to the range with just, listen to this, just my sand wedge, and I'll hit every shot 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, all the way up to 100 yards. When you go to the range, you should be working on something specific. I don't take my full bag. I never take my bag to the range, okay? I'm working on something specific. A lot of times I'll go to the range and I'll take a sand wedge, my putter, and a 7-iron. Sand wedge and putter, because I'm working on my short game. And then I'll take a 7-iron because I want to hit approach shots to a landing area at my club, okay? Now, practice rounds. I never play more than 9 holes. I don't keep score, and I will probably, on a par 3, I'll probably hit 7 balls. You know what I'm saying? Depending on who's coming up on me. And I'm not talking 7 balls from the tee. I might hit 2 or 3 from the tee. I'll shake one right, shake one left, all right? And then I'll go up, and if I'm in the middle of the green, I'll drop a few outside my cart, and I will hit those to the green. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll go in, and then I'll putt. Mike Mayer, the coach at IU, taught me how to play a practice round when I go to a course. Do not keep score. Just drop a lot of balls all over the place and get used to the contours so that when you do play, you're ready. Now, practice to play. I think we are victims of our schedule because we're a very busy society and everything. So I think your schedule determines it. But if you're free, I'll tell you what the pros do. They do both every day. They go in the morning and they work on something specific, and then they start talking logistics and things, take a break, eat lunch, and then they go back and they'll probably play a practice round. That's what I do every summer, okay? I'll go to the range in the morning, or if it's really hot and I'm in Florida, I will go out and play in the morning, but I'm only gonna play 9, and then I come back and then I'll work around the greens. That's where I do most of my work. Mike Mayer told me that they do approximately 70 to 75% of their work, the IU men's golf team. Oh, I think he said about 150 yards and in. And so I adopted that philosophy, and the first thing I noticed was that my greens in regulation increased. So, but I will tell you this, I only go to the range when I'm working on something specific, but I have found that playing a 9-hole practice round is equally important. And I try to do both when time allows. And during the summer, when I'm not teaching, that's what I do. I go to both.
Doc, we got time for a couple more. First one is, how do you control poor body language?
Okay, I love this one because body language, you know, we have this saying, what comes first, the attitude or the body language? Well, doesn't matter. You're in a funky place, okay? That's my answer. I don't care what comes first. So here's what I would tell you. Head up, chest out, change your body language, change your attitude, because that's a lot easier. Because sometimes what's messing with you here, you can't shake it. But guess what? When you role play, that's what I do with my guys. I say role play. So chest out, head up, and act like you're the thing, you're the bomb. And then all of a sudden, that's stupid. Yep. Yep, it's stupid, but do it anyway. And it almost immediately, I got you guys with that earlier. I said, okay, say I can't. Say I can't. Okay, now say I got this. I got this. And it changes your attitude. So neurolinguistics is how language changes our mood, okay? So I err on the side of positivity. So that's why I say, I got this are 3 great big words that you can use anything that you want to do. Even meeting that girl or that guy that you want to take out on a first date. I got this.
So Doc, this will be the last question tonight.
Okay.
Certainly appreciate everybody using the chat feature and asking such great questions. So you touched on this a little bit, but how do you need to differentiate between a pre-round warm-up and going to a range for practice? What's the difference?
Oh, pre-round range or warm-up. Oh, okay. I didn't hear that pre-round
Well,
warm-up.
this is a little different, but that's the question.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you say pre-round, in other words, you're going out to play a tournament or a competitive round.
How do you adjust a practice session going out to play versus just going to the range to work on something?
Okay. Well, I talked to you about what I do with regard to when I'm working on my game. Prior to a round, I want to do 2 things. First of all, I get there 1 hour before I tee off. Okay. 1 hour. And so the first thing that I do is I go to the putting green, and I putt to get a feel for the greens. I putt first. Then I go to the range with a warm-up bucket, about 45 to 50 balls, and I will hit driver, 7-iron, and wedge. Okay? Driver, 7-iron, and wedge. Wedge because that's my go-to club that, you know, when I miss the green. 7-iron because I was taught, and I find this to be true, it kind of translates everything from, you know, your lob wedge all the way up to your driver. And then I hit driver, principally because I'm going to be driving the first hole, and then I'll play the first hole, okay? So I'll hit a driver, and then I'll hit a 7-iron, and then I'll hit a wedge pretending that I'm playing a par 5. And then once that bucket of balls is done, I go back to the putting green, and then I'll chip and I'll putt. And when I putt, there are 3 types of putts that I do. I'll putt off the fringe. I'll putt a hole that's at least 25, 30 feet away. And then I'll put the ball around the hole, and then I'll hit a whole bunch of 3-footers. Okay. And then I go to the first tee, and then I play. And I've already, hit drives, and I've already visualized playing that first hole, and then I just remember it, and then I execute it. So I go to the green, go to the range, go back to the green, go to the first tee.
Thanks, Doc. And thanks all of you for being with us tonight. So just a reminder, you can find this webinar and all of our other seminars on our YouTube page. Just search Indiana Golf on YouTube and you'll find them there. Our next session, we will be covering the confidence factor with Doc. So we're looking forward to that. We'll make sure that we send out another link and invitation for that next webinar when it's coming up. But Doc, as always, great information. Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate your passion for the game and your willingness to share your advice with us. So we look forward to the next time.
I do too. Thank you all for coming.